Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Siftd HQ. We tried to call this show Not Another Podcast at first, but we found out that there are literally like 800 shows that are called Not Another Podcast. But that's really what this show is. It's a variety show. It's going to be different every week. There's going to be like a handful of segments that are in it every time.
We'll be trying new stuff every time, so it's never... There'll be segments that we do that are the same, but we will add some new elements every time to make it fresh.
Yeah, we have a pool of segments that'll be floating in and out, and then a handful of segments that'll be in every episode. So you never know what you're gonna get with this. I hope you guys are excited. There's a couple things from our past that are re-emerging inside Siftd HQ. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out. Hey, welcome to Closet Raiders. This is a segment where I show off cool stuff. I've been very lucky. I've been in the gaming industry for about 25 years now. I've had a lot of really cool things sent to me by video game publishers, and that's what this show is about. They don't even really send out stuff like I'm gonna show off in this show anymore. Generally, you just get like a collector's edition if you're on the top tier list. Back in the day when I was on the top tier list, I got cool stuff, and I'm gonna show it off to you in Closet Raiders. We're gonna kick things off with something very cool and something very, very rare, and that is the Halo Reach review kit, I guess is what they called it. But basically, it's a steel attaché case, and as you can see, Halo Reach printed on one side, Halo Reach printed on the other side, and if I had money, I would put it in this because it seems like it's pretty safe. Anyway, the really cool stuff is inside, so let's take a look. So back in the day when they would send out review kits, they would send crazy documentation. Did I always read it? Nope. I definitely didn't always read it. The way I reviewed games, I felt like I shouldn't rely on a document to be able to review them. But nevertheless, they sent out these elaborate, crazy packets. I mean, here you can see this is a folder. If you go inside, there's a disc with assets, a bunch of documentation. It's like a fact sheet. You guys have probably all seen this stuff before. Fact sheets, and then there's stuff about the game, times when you could play the game online with others during the review period, and then usually there's a message from the developers, and in this case it's Bungie. Also included was an art book called Overture, and I'll flip through this for you guys real fast. I'm not going to show you the whole thing obviously, but you can see it was pretty elaborate. And I think this was important for Halo Reach because Halo Reach was kind of a departure for the franchise, and I think Microsoft was really cognizant of that and wanted to make sure that journalists were getting what they were putting out about the game. You can see there's a few pages there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but a pretty nice high quality art book nevertheless. Next up, you can see all this stuff is, this attaché case was made for this stuff. So the controller fits perfectly, the game fits perfectly, and here is the controller. It's a silver controller with some print on it. This thing has never even been taken out of this case until now. It has sat in this case since the day I got review code for Halo Reach, and I just removed it for the first time. It's got a black battery case. It's a pretty cool controller. I think I probably have 10 Xbox 360 controllers laying around that I've never even opened or looked at. Below here, here was a Halo Reach avatar item that I never even downloaded. I could have, but I never did. And then some batteries for the controller, which are probably now all crusted and I should probably throw them out. The game, retail version of Halo Reach, which also is sealed, never been opened. In fact, this thing has sat in my closet for years and years without any eyes on it. So there's the retail version of the game. Obviously they sent out review codes, so I didn't have to use the retail version to play it. And then finally, Halo, the Fall of Reach. Again, because Halo Reach was such a departure for the franchise at the time, there was a novel that was produced to try to help you kind of understand where it fit into the timeline, and they included this with the review kit. I don't know if they thought you were gonna read all this before you reviewed the game, but that was a fool's errand, and it definitely never happened. So there you go. The Halo Reach review kit untouched from when it was first sent out.
Hi, I'm Mitch Sikorsky, and this is Turn Up Tuesday, where we're breaking down the movies, TV shows, albums, and games that are coming out this week. And first, we're going to talk about games. We have Conan Chop Chop, a rogue action-adventure game set in the world of Conan the Barbarian, and it's out on all major platforms. 2 Point Hospital is the spiritual successor to Theme Hospital, where you manage an infirmary dealing with some wacky illnesses. PS4, Xbox One, and Switch versions are coming after the PC version released almost 2 years ago. After more than a decade, Samurai Showdown is back and it's landing on the Switch. Its fighting system is new, so if you've tried Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, this is worth a look. Anime and fighting games go hand in hand, and that's the case once again in One Punch Man: A Hero Nobody Knows. This 3-on-3 brawler is out for all major platforms on Friday. Now on to new albums this week. If you're a music fiend, next week has some notable releases. Metalheads take note, Five Finger Death Punch has its 8th studio album coming out on February 28th. The band's calling it a rebirth, but in our initial listen, it's just as crunchy as ever. If you like the bands that put the rock in indie rock, Officer's new album Night Tennis also lands on February 28th. If electric indie fusion's more your thing, San Francisco's The Session has a new album called Kane, and it's out Friday. Our final pick this week comes from the Undercover Dream Lovers. This LA band sounds like it could be from the 60s, but its album All in Your Head is most definitely brand new. It's a slow week in theaters, but there's one flick we have our eye on. The Invisible Man from Blumhouse Productions follows Cecilia as she grapples with the fortune left by her abusive ex. Strange things begin happening all around her, so Cecilia isn't so sure he's gone for good. Blumhouse is responsible for horror hits like Get Out, so if you're a fan, you should get out to the theaters on Friday. If you'd rather stay home, Altered Carbon Season 2 comes to Netflix on Friday. Set in a world where a human's essence can be transferred into another human's body, former imprisoned soldier Takeshi Kovacs sets off to find the love that he thought he lost. If you're excited for Cyberpunk 2077, there's plenty of neon and dystopian tropes to keep you more than satisfied.
However, レーティング審査にかけました結果、奮闘むなしく 0B。
おい待てほら離す間に合ってよかった。はい、もう離さないでね。
魔法の力とか持ってないかい。でもスマホは持ってますよってどういうこと？ちょっと待って、怖い。違う。Welcome to
Hi, I'm Shane Satterfield for Siftd News, and here are the 6 biggest news stories for the week ending February 25th. In PlayStation news, Sony is getting really nervous about the coronavirus. Not only did it stop Naughty Dog from attending PAX East to show off The Last of Us Part 2, it also just announced it's no longer attending the Game Developers Conference in March. With just a handful of months before the launch of PlayStation 5, Sony is running out of marketing runway. On the Nintendo front, it was a big week for Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Switch. Nintendo launched a direct for the game that's just over 20 minutes long. Highlights include choosing the season to begin in, an airport and post office to act as your gateway to interacting with others, up to 4 players can explore an island together, and up to 8 players can be on a single island at once. It's an encouraging preview ahead of its March 20th launch. If you're a fan of Cyberpunk and a PC gamer, you're going to be very happy about the latest information coming from NVIDIA. The company is releasing a special edition GeForce RTX 2080 Ti for Cyberpunk 2077. The catch is that only 200 are being made, so they won't be available for general purchase. NVIDIA is stating its value to be $1,100, but really it's just a fancy paint job, and they're going to be impossible to get. In a somewhat related story, NVIDIA's game streaming service GeForce Now is losing games by the day. First, it lost Activision's games, then CD Projekt Red stated Cyberpunk 2077 would not be coming to the service. And finally, Bethesda also stated it was opting out. In other words, the streaming wars are heating up. If you're a fan of virtual reality, it was a big week. HTC unveiled its brand new Vive Cosmos Elite headset. It's the top of the line HMD, but it's not cheap. $900 gets you Steam VR Lighthouse base stations and a new external tracking faceplate. VR seems to be gaining momentum, so it's good to see one of the industry's major players making major bets. If you're not a fan of gray, blue, or gold, Nintendo has some good news for you this week. The company has announced a brand new color for the Switch Lite. It's calling it coral, but everyone else will just call it pink. It launches April 3rd in the US at the same price as other Switch Lite handhelds. And that's $200 US. That's it for the 6 biggest stories from the week. We'll see you next week for the Big 6.
Hey Sifters, Mitch Sikorsky here, and it's time to take a look at the games announced this week that have us excited to play. Kiwi is a crazy, wacky co-op game involving 2 kiwi birds setting up mail and packages for delivery. We enjoyed Overcooked, and this gives us the same vibes, but with cute little birds instead. It's planned to be released on PC, and they're hopeful to make it for all platforms. Unfortunately, you'll have to wait until 2021 to enjoy this jolly game. I smell something. It smells like apple pie. You know, just like how Mama made it? Yes, Cooking with Mama is back, with a new game in the series coming to the Switch. We were happy to see how the Switch Joy-Cons were used in Super Mario Party, and we feel this game can do the same. Best part is that you don't have to wait too long to get back in the kitchen, because it's out in March, and for $39.99 USD. Music and rhythm games can be hit or miss, but with Clang 2, we feel like it's going to be a true hit. With vibrant neon colors paired with an amazing electric soundtrack, we feel our senses are going to be on overload in the best way possible. Though all we know it's out in 2020 and for all major platforms, we are on the edge of our seats to know more. Over the last few years, Dragon Quest has been making more noise in the gaming world, while expanding its franchise into new genres. With Dragon Quest Tact, they're attempting to do it again, this time in the mobile market. With staple characters and monsters from the last game, if you couldn't get enough Dragon Quest XI, this is something for you. Due to make its release in 2020, you'll have to stay on Siftd.net to catch more info. We here at Siftd think Towerfall is a noteworthy party game to play with friends, and when we saw Drillman Rumble, we were thinking the same thing. People with drills doing battle sounds like a fun time to us. With fast maneuvers, different abilities, and changing arenas, I can't wait to take on Shane mano-a-mano. It's out this year for all platforms.
All right, so there you go. That was the first episode of Siftd HQ, all produced here in our headquarters in West Los Angeles, mostly.
Mostly, yes, very much so.
Eventually, we're going to do some different stuff. We'll probably do some gameplay stuff on the show. Maybe like you versus me, some fun stuff like that.
I hinted at it earlier, saying we're going to go mano-a-mano. I'm so down for that.
Yep. We're probably going to maybe do some vlogs here and there. Like if we go see a movie together or whatever, we'll vlog it, and we'll make sure that we kind of document that here. This show is just really open format, and we're going to do a bunch of really fun and cool stuff, and enjoy the ride.